Join us as we delve into the Kessinger interrogations with special guest Jennifer from Crafted Evidence. Why was she allowed to have her dad present? Were the interrogations truly interviews in disguise? I'm going to roll some credits while we wait for the rest of the Watts Island crew to boat on over. Special shout out to my Power Replay crew and all my little dragonflies that I see buzzing around out there. Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out. Isn't it funny how NK's dad acted like a lawyer? Yeah, in there. And Chris's dad buffoon. Yes. That is.
Can you pretend while we're doing this style?
That is so true. I always say if Chris's dad regrets anything, I am positive it is that he didn't say, get me a lawyer. Yeah. Get him a lawyer.
It took a long time for them to bring Ronnie in when you watch that raw video. And I know they had to be prepping him and saying, we need the truth. Please get your son to tell the truth, and guilting him like these are your grandbabies, you know. Kind of like the whole Wade Wilson thing, you know, Wade's dad ratted him out. That is a call we need to listen to one day. Amy is so funny when the two of them are fighting.
I would like to get into a Wade Wilson. I would like to get, because I like to do Florida cases, so I would really like to get into Wade Wilson.
It also is a different vibe too, where like it's not funny because people died, but you get humor in the fact of someone who's so delusional they think they're going to get out of prison one day. Like, that's what's comical about it.
Chris thinks he's going to get out one day.
Laura, did you see the video I posted last night?
What did Laura say?
I'm waiting for her to respond. She was like, I'm excited to see the picture. I'm like, it's been out there.
Oh yeah, I gotta get that over. Okay, so I thought that we could take a look at, you like to do Reddit, I like to do Reddit, so I did a little Reddit. So we got some Reddit stuff that we can look at before we go into the interrogation. So tonight I'd really like to focus on why was NK's dad even allowed in this interrogation? Because most people's dads don't sit in their interrogation, and even like it's just amazing to me too that Chris Watts's mother thought that like she should be allowed to see Chris. Like most people that are accused of this and arrested, they don't get to have their adults don't get to have their mothers and fathers come in and see them. So it just
at that point Chris was not under arrest. After that, Polly, they probably should have read him his Miranda rights, but they didn't. But like after that was done and then he did that confession, like boom, it was done. And it's interesting when Chris said, I don't know if you remember this, but he goes, that day I knew going in there I wasn't coming out.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And it's like, just think of like, did you go have a big steak? Did you go do something that, you normally would do knowing you're not coming back out?
No, I don't think he did anything. He was even wearing the same clothes he wore the day before. So I just think he wanted it over, to be honest. But he's not that strong. He doesn't have that strong of a character to withstand that long of an interrogation. So,
no. And I love the interrogation. We'll have to do that one too. Like that clock ticking in the background is everything to me.
Him eating his earwax and doing all this weird shit. So over here it says NK's father and business with Anadarko. I'm curious about NK's history working for her father and the nature of the business relationship with Anadarko. Do any of you know the background story? Correct me if I'm wrong, but based on what I read, her father owned the business conducting safety inspections and other services to Anadarko. NK could therefore have been involved in delivering a training program, and she spotted CW while he attended one. A crush turned into an obsession that was fueled perhaps by her access to his personal records, periodic interactions through official work, and SW's public social media posts. NK having family closely related to Anadarko is mainly what I found strange about her evasiveness from speaking to the public and choosing to relocate and change her name. Isn't the father still left behind, though, to face the backlash through both from society and his employer, unless, of course, they were addressed internally with matching confidentiality agreements? I guess I will always remain suspicious of NK, who was the mistress and who was involved with a man who apparently had no sign of a backbone, had no ability to plan his finances, and parenthood, to suddenly being able to plan the execution of his family, down to knowing where to dump them. If it were indeed true that NK's father was well connected to Anadarko, then it is naive to assume she didn't have access to lawyers and legal strategists that had the knowledge and means to end an investigation and keep stakeholders and victims' families satisfied at the same time. If she had a father with big money and power at his disposal, then it is plausible NK had more protection than average people who would find themselves in the same predicament. If she grew up spoiled to the point of rottenness, then it may have shaped her confidence about getting away with doing it and encouraging criminal or unethical actions.
So I'll jump in on what I've been able to dig up on this family. It's not much, but they were a middle-class family. And Dwayne, his background is in electrical engineering. They are not oil money. They're not a wealthy family. They're just a middle-class family. They moved around a lot because Dwayne did spend some time in the military. And even Nichol kind of talks about that in her interview, that she moved around a lot, has sister. I can't remember the other siblings, but has a sister. So that's why she said she could kind of relate to maybe Cece and Bella's relationship a little bit as well. But the safe house, everyone talks about. If you look up property records, the Denver safe house is actually in Dwayne's name. And I'm assuming Dwayne, I can't confirm this, but I'm assuming Dwayne owned that property and rented it out. Sometimes you can buy a piece of property super cheap, like $50K, flip it, renovate it, and sell it, or rent it out for Airbnb. That's what I'm assuming he did with this Denver property. And that's what the safe house is she's talking about. Is she still there now? I doubt it. But, you know, I see a lot of these conspiracies with the Anadarko. And with what I've seen employment history-wise, it doesn't match with Dwayne. But that doesn't mean there's another family member that I don't know about that might have this Anadarko connection.
Yeah. I don't know. In reading here, it's saying that she was like lower middle class, that some people say, no, he didn't have a military connection. And some are saying, yes, he did have a military connection. This is interesting. This says, it's interesting that the father left NK's mother at the same age that Chris was, that Bella and Cece were. That's very interesting.
She doesn't have a relationship with her mother. I am surprised that there has not been any, I mean, good on her, good on the mom, but there has not been any interview that she's done, or people are not like harassing the mom, because I'm sure that Dwayne took some heat for a while, for sure.
Uh-huh.
But from what I know from the folks that I know down in Frederick, Dwayne had a lawyer already draft up some type of agreement, pretty much presenting that before Nichol opened her mouth. So that is why, you guys, like, from what I've heard from the Frederick peeps, that's why she sat down with her dad. Like, they were also in this desperate situation at that time. They needed to find the bodies of these women, you know, the kids, and Nichol had a lot of information they needed. So they were open to it, I think, at that point. You don't blame her for staying out of the media? I don't either. I mean, I wouldn't come out and be like, yeah, that's my daughter.
Oh, I didn't know that Dwayne was listed as a witness in the discovery, was he?
Not that I know of. He was just her support system, basically. And he was the brains behind drafting this legal documentation to protect Nichol, which is smart, honestly, in all honesty. If you find yourself in a situation where you're connected to murder, it would be wise to draft. But that doesn't mean they didn't do their own investigation on her. Oh, yeah, guys, don't forget to give the emojis in the chat. That really helps out. And then I want to throw out Amy's PayPal, Parawomenradio, and her Cashapp, Parawomenradio. So if you just want to buy her a coffee, do it. Or we were joking last night about Joe Exotic wants Amy to pay him $100 for an interview. So if you want that, let's do it.
Yes, that's the going rate for Joe Exotic, my friends. If you want him to, it would be contributing to his legal fund, of course, he said. So, so I don't know. I think it's interesting that the father was even involved in the whole thing, and that the police treated Nichol Kessinger more like it was like an interview and not an interrogation.
They treated her like an informant, you know, like she's not a prisoner, you know, but they treated her like she has insider info. And the best way I view this whole situation is they wanted to shut this closed case, be done with it, because they don't want their community to look like there's a dangerous criminal on the loose. And they knew Chris did this. And he was screwing around and, you know, acting like he wasn't going to talk. So I think they were just so desperate. Nichol didn't know this. She got a tip from HR that, well, not HR, someone in her company, Anadarko, said, hey, just want to let you know, HR sent your emails over to Frederick, Colorado Police Department after Chris got arrested. Because Frederick reached out to Anadarko and said, have you noticed any odd behavior, you know, since his wife's disappearance, blah, 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 blah. They check his email, they find the affair, and they turn that over to investigators. So that may be one of the only reasons Nichol came forward, knowing those emails were sent. Had she not been tipped off, maybe they would have watched her for a couple days, monitored their phone calls for a few days.
That would have been nice.
It's unfortunate someone tipped her off.
But she's got to be living a really like miserable life, I think. Like, she can't be happy.
Yeah, like Casey Anthony.
Uh-huh.
Like, can you actually go out to a restaurant? And I have to think having a relationship with anyone else is going to be very difficult.
You can't even go to a funeral.
Someone.
She can't even go to a funeral.
Right. You can't, right? I mean, we saw how that played out.
Yeah.
Probably doing yoga at home, watching YouTube.
Or not doing yoga. It doesn't look like she's doing yoga. And not to be mean, but it doesn't look like she's as in shape as she used to be. And
she's doing her healthy.
Yeah, some people are saying that she just had a baby too, so that there could be that. I don't know. Ouch.
You know what? I'll say about that. I mean, like, that's exactly how I looked after kids. It is like this weird. In Olga, I think Olga has like 4 children. Just curious for you too, Olga. I was like this puffy water weight. Like, it wasn't fat. It was like this almost inflammatory jiggliness, if that makes sense. And like when I watched
that, I think except like odd people that bounce back overnight, that rare people that do that. But I think every woman's like that.
Do you think, Amy, she had a kid?
She has that look about her, like that just after having a child look. She does. There's a look that women have, and there's nothing wrong with. I mean, it's your body just went through something.
Right. So it's normal.
It's a look. She has a look. It's like a puffy look.
Yeah, it's like a watery, jiggly weight type of look, not like your fat
like type. Yeah, it's like a Dr. Seuss kind of body look too. Like, I remember watching Mad About You and her saying, like, I feel like I'm a Dr. Seuss character, because it is. You got this little wideness that you don't normally have because your hips have opened up, and you just have this look about you until, like, it's not forever look, but it's a look.
Yes, Olga, water retention. Exactly. And it takes like a couple months for it to go away.
Yeah. But it does. And I don't know. I have seen over on TikTok, they even have a photo of some child, but then I think it was debunked, the child that's supposed to be, it looks just like as if she were to have a child and Chris was to be the father. It's very interesting.
The age would match up to, I know the photo you're talking about.
Yeah.
And the child would be 6 years old now. And the picture they showed, Charlotte says, I think she looks like she's been drinking and stressing. I see that too. But there's something about that water weight to me that looks very like how I looked after having kids. It took me a long time to just kind of get rid of that water weight.
Yeah, it's just like a little layer of extraness. In doing this, I found this Change.org because there was a time where they weren't releasing this Nichol Kessinger interview, and they had created this Change.org where they hadn't released, the Frederick Police Department refuses to release Chris Watts's mistress's Nichol Kessinger's video interview from August 16th, 2018, which is so they released the audio, but they wouldn't release the video. And it's just so interesting. And it happened to be the one with the father. So the Frederick Police Department, so finally they did release it. But I just thought that was another aspect to this, that why didn't they release it?
Did you see the petition to have her reinvestigated? If not, I'll send it to you.
Yeah, I've seen that one. I've seen it.
Okay. Let me ask you this while we're live. Is StreamYard harder to pull up material? Like, I know in live streams it's a little harder, but like if I email you something while we're talking, is it easy to pull it up?
No, it's really easy. I can just pull it right up. But I thought this, in looking at this person said that, like, reasons why the Frederick Police Department may not want to release Nichol Kessinger's video interview: one, fear; two, protection of NK and her dad; three, red tape; reasons why it's vital to not bury NK's video: public interest, the right to know, the due process investigation into a major crime; visual evidence unseen; CBI, which I thought it was very interesting too when I saw her interviews, because I like to watch the behavioral panel, although I lost a lot of respect for them when I think they did Gypsy Rose, and I got really mad. But and I think I unsubbed from them too, because I was like, no.
Did they
but,
watch? Did they watch Gypsy's police interview? Is that what they watched?
Yeah, and they just totally believed her. But but with Nichol Kessinger, they were saying things like, if somebody stares down a camera, like you're interviewing them, and then you say, I'm like this and this and this, and I know the camera's up here, and then all of a sudden I'm like, and I'm staring down the camera, that is a sign of a psychopath. And there's so many times that NK just stares down the camera. She just looks at the camera for no reason, because she knows
I just
it's
sent
there.
you the petition if we want to look at that too.
Okay, let me pull it up. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? How she's staring down the camera?
Oh yeah, it's almost like a confidence, like she wants to show she's not threatened. I would love if we could find like an expert on body language to kind of like look through some videos with us. Not even just this case, but all cases.
No. There is a smaller channel that does the Gypsy Rose case. I should contact her and see if she wants. Do you guys do? I have a lot of people that do the Gypsy Rose case, so I don't know if any of my Watts people do Gypsy Rose. But what is it called? Oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Indigo something.
There's this Martin Dakota.
Oh wow!
Guy,
people are still signing this. Look at it. People up to 2 weeks ago. People were still signing this.
Yeah, wow. And I was trying. I did a whole video on this, and I was like, "You guys, you can't just do a petition. Like, you're going to have to like. I think it's mainly going to be people who need to be from Frederick, and they're going to have to say, I'm scared. There's this woman in my community that I'm scared of. And kind of make the community in Weld County give a press conference or an update. I don't think random people and I hate to say that, sorry guys, but I just don't think random people in different states and countries signing this, they're not even paying attention to it, unfortunately.
But Gerald, wouldn't you think that because she's been in the interrogation, because you bring up a good point, because she did have that, when she was a teenager. So she has been in there, in those rooms, but wouldn't she know not to look at it? That's kind of sus looking at it, but I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Well, I think it is, because if the behavioral panel is saying it's sus, then people, well, I don't know. They weren't even they weren't even watching her. They were just, it was more like an interview and not an interrogation. She was in no danger whatsoever of anything.
Not at all. I like also observing something that really bothers me in this video we'll watch here shortly. She has an issue saying Shenanigans' name, and she keeps singing that couple or those kids. And it's like, why not just say the name? What is your problem? And then you'll notice Kevin Kovac is like, I need you to say the name for the record. So he'll backtrack her and say, what people? Who are you talking about? And then she'll be like, oh, sorry, Shenan. Because it's she's so disconnected, she doesn't want to mention their names.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. Okay, so we're going to go into the interrogation. Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. I am trying to hit 7K over on YouTube. Here, let me show you a little something that I prepared for this moment. All right, guys. So
you got
before
my
we get
mugshot.
started, if we can do that algorithm dance party that I like to do, to start warming up your fingers and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. We're coming to you today on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Hey, y'all. How you doing? Giving me the thumbs up just helps us dance out into the algorithm, party out there, find more interesting people, bring them back to our. Sorry, I got a little too clicky there and clicked off at the very end. So just be sure to give us a thumbs up, whichever platform you're on. Yes, I got the email for you. Yep. Oh,
okay.
Did you email the mugshot too? I meant to.
I emailed it.
You emailed it. Okay. So we're gonna go and watch the interrogation, and then at the very end, stay tuned to the end. We have a updated Chris Watts mugshot. Jen got it for us.
You guys, I didn't even think to ask for an updated mugshot. And then one of my coworkers texted me last night and said, I really love your Chris Watts stuff. Why aren't you using the new mugshot? And I was like, I didn't even think to look to see if there's a new one in the system. And I think you guys will be surprised a little bit by it.
Does he look old?
No, Laura. Yeah, I'm almost at 5K.
Woohoo! Yeah, be sure to give Jen a thumbs up. Her link will be in our show notes. We will be putting her link to her YouTube and her Facebook. And yeah. Okay, here we go. This is the interrogation that she did with her father on 8/16/18. It's like 3.5 hours long, so we're not going to be able to watch it all tonight, obviously.
With this case involving Chris Watts. And this is Tim Martinez, also an agent at CBI. Sir, if you just introduce yourself.
Dwayne Kessinger.
Can you bump up the audio a little?
Yeah, I am. Hold on, I'm trying to. Why won't it? So, Jen, if you want me to stop it, just say stop it and whatever you want to say,
Okay.
November 3rd, 1958.
And home address for you, sir?
8801 West 65th Avenue.
Let's see.
And that's Arvada, 8004.
And a cell phone or a home phone or
720-982-4547.
Thank you. And Nicole, can you just introduce yourself for the recording?
Nichol Kessinger.
Yes, please.
I live at 12255 Clark Court, Unit 612, phone number 720-656.
I think Chris Watts will turn 40 on May 16th because his birthday's May 16th, 1985. So he's about to be 40 in prison.
605.
Claude Court, is that? I think we determined it was North Glen, right? You know your zip code?
80249.
Okay. Can you speak up just a little bit so the recorder? I know you're tired and you're stressed, and we won't be here any longer than we have to be. You've already had a conversation with people before. You came here on your own free will to talk to us. We picked you up at your request and brought you here. You can get up and leave at any time. You don't have to talk to us. If there's a question you don't want to answer, don't answer it. If you don't want to talk anymore, just tell me I want to leave. And I'm kind of in the way of the door, but you're not being interrogated as a criminal suspect. We're here to understand your relationship with Chris and what you know about Chris and his family and events relating to Chris Watts. And do you know him as Chris or Christopher?
Either one.
Okay. So the phone number that you reached him on, can you tell me what that number was?
I think I deleted that out of my phone too. I just cut him out of my life. It's a 910 number. You guys have it.
No, we gave it to Mark yesterday.
Because, we all truly do that. Our boyfriends are in the middle of a murder investigation and you just want to wash them right out of your hair. And so you just, delete everything from your phone. You just cut them out of your life.
Yeah, I probably have it, but just in case.
I don't have it.
If I recited it to you, would you know it?
Just the first 3 numbers.
But
She's
you
like
know it
a
as a 910 number?
Yes, that's what I do know. I mean,
That's like North Carolina or something.
North Carolina. Okay, so let's just start with like a timeline of your getting to know Chris, how you guys met, where you met, all those things. And let's just run. And I'm not going to ask you specific questions unless I think it's necessary. I'll let you just tell me your story. I think it's a little bit easier that way. So I just want to know how you met him, where you met him, how long you guys were dating, and those kind of things initially.
okay. I think I met him sometime in June, probably early June. It might have been May. It was just talking at work. It was pretty casual. And he didn't have a wedding ring on his finger. And every time I talked to him, he didn't tell me that he was in a relationship. He didn't even mention his kids right away either. And then one day he told me that he had 2 kids. I was like, that's pretty cool. And so he told me about his kids.
That sounded like a sarcastic comment.
No, I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad. It was like right around Father's Day too. So whenever
Let's
that
pause
is,
there.
June.
I want to
Yeah.
get.
So
I'm not good with holidays.
No,
Do you guys feel that was a sarcastic, awkward moment? Or do you think she was into the kids?
Are you asking? I don't think she was into the kids, but I think she wanted the police officer to think she was into the kids. So she used that voice.
Yeah, I agree. It was like this weird. Thanks, Charlotte.
Yes. Big thank you.
I feel like it is that weird, like she's like, oh shit, he knows that I don't like kids or something.
Yeah. I think it was an over the top, like, I think she was used to using her sexuality and her sweet, like, I think it was just an over the top way that she reacts to men, and they like that, or she thinks they like that. So definitely sarcastic, Samantha. You heard she doesn't like kids. Didn't she say she didn't want kids, but then all of a sudden she pulled out that she wanted her son?
She wanted to have a son because Chris wanted a son.
But didn't she at first say she didn't want kids? Or I don't know. Oh, she did? Okay.
I think she said at this time I don't want kids. But then I think after she learned Chris was very adamant about having a boy, then she changed her mind.
Oh, definitely, Carrie B. And I mean, just the way she giggled on that phone, that was like on that answering machine. Ooh. Which, creepy enough that there were actual dolls in the closet that were giggling just like that. So it's just very
weird.
he told me he had kids, and then it was Father's Day shortly after that. So that's what I do know. And I was like, I thought it was cute. And then he's telling me about him. He's pretty excited about him. And then
see, she just right there. We should do a little number 1 stare down.
he mentioned that he did have a significant other. And then he told me that those 2 were in the process of a separation.
Those 2.
Did he mention the children's name or his significant other's name?
I didn't know his significant other's name for a while. And then I think he told me his kids' names pretty quick, but to be honest with you, on an exact date of when that happened, I don't know.
So in May and June, first of all, where do you work?
I work at Anadarko Petroleum Corporation. I'm contracted to Anadarko Petroleum Corporation.
Okay, and you work out of an office setting where?
In Platteville, Colorado.
Okay, and Chris also works out of that location, per se?
Yes, he's in the field, but he comes into the office with his team.
So you work, what is your job responsibility?
I do health, safety, and environment.
Okay, so you work in the office and you take care of health safety for Anadarko is an oil and gas company, right?
Yes.
So you're doing health safety in the office and Chris works in the field
Yes.
As a, what kind of job does he do?
He's an operator. So I don't know like all of his daily duties, but he's a field operator. So he works with like the oil wells.
So he goes out and does work on those, whatever
Yes.
that work might be. But he comes into the office.
How much do you want to bet she knew all of his daily activities and job duties? She strikes me as someone who knows everything.
She knew where he was at what time he was doing it. And these two, I don't know if you've ever been in one of those relationships when in the very beginning of it, you were in constant communication, texting each other back and forth. That's what those two were doing. And I think the only time they were physically apart was at work. Then he went home, let the dog out, worked out in the basement, went straight to Nichole's. And that was something also Rob and I were talking about the other night. That asshole left Dieter crated up for hours on end to go hang out with her.
Yeah.
I hope he at least took the dog over there sometimes.
Oh, he never did. He never did. Don't
you think she would think like someone who treats their animal like that is probably not a good person? Like,
yeah, he probably lied to her though and said that he probably said he had a dog walker, or who knows what he told her. You know, he's a prolific liar. But yeah, if I knew somebody left their dog like that all the time, and that poor little dog. Yeah. If Dieter could talk, I wish Dieter could talk.
Oh my gosh. I know. But like, you think about it. He probably worked an 8-hour day. Chris came home maybe 2 hours tops and then went straight to Nichole's. From Nichole's, he went to work again and then came home that dog was literally probably out only 2 hours a day.
Yeah. I think Chris's Facebook probably looked like whatever Shanann put up on Chris's Facebook. I think that's why Facebook. Yeah. So whatever Shanann did to Chris's Facebook, that's what it looked like. But yeah, it would be nice to know. I wish that Chris's Facebook was still up, and I wish that they hadn't taken down Shanann's Instagram. So.
Yeah, I think Shanann used Chris's Facebook as a secondary Thrive platform. Oh, and yeah. I could do a whole nother episode, Amy, about like how I feel Thrive has screwed that family over so much.
Yeah. Well, and the product itself, I think, has screwed that family over. I think whatever was that guarana seed extract.
Yeah. And those double patches.
Yeah.
I'm sure did not help the situation either.
When I take diet stuff like that, I get very agitated. I cannot imagine slapping double, and it was extra strength already. So I can't imagine it. I think I might harm somebody if I had that on me, because I just can't. I want to jump out of my skin. I get aggressive. It's the same way if I take Benadryl. I can't take Benadryl. It makes me just want to explode. So I cannot even imagine. I think Thrive did and then I think he was doing substances on top of that. So yeah.
Definitely. And I really think it's interesting that Chris didn't decide to file the 35C motion to possibly have another trial. And if I were his defense attorney, I would have blamed the Thrive patches. But something must have happened to the point where he didn't want to file that paperwork. I don't know what it is. Maybe he really didn't want to put the Rusick family through suffering, but they really could have used Thrive as a fall down for Chris's mental health. Yeah,
they really could.
And I don't have a lot.
They really could, because people really think the diet and the supplement industry should have better regulations than they do, and I agree with it.
For sure.
Carrie B, a neighbor called cops in July complaining about Dieter barking all night Dunes weekend. How do we know that the neighbor called the cops in July? Where is this information coming from? Just out of curiosity.
I've
Is
never
there a police
seen that
report?
before. Do you know?
Yeah.
Do you know what date it was? I'm just curious because I have a pretty good amount of the reports. I have even like the reports of, we call her the September woman, who was seen leaving a car, getting into the Watts house, but never returning. That's an interesting report.
I would like to do a Mythbuster live series where we get all the lives, all the Watts, rumors and myths, and we go through them one by one, and we try to figure out, like, where did this come from? Is there a report? Is it true?
Yeah.
Is it false? Because there's so much out there that, like, I don't know. Do you think Chris had a fetish that Shanann didn't know about? Yes, I do. He was into NK's
Yeah, I
creepy.
think Amy, you kind of touched on that last night.
Yeah, I definitely think he was starting to experiment with that kind of stuff. And also, I remember one of his childhood friends said that Chris was actually a really mean kid. He got off on making them do things they didn't like to do. So, I don't know. I think there's more to Chris than we think. And I've also had people, I'm trying to research, and if you've heard any of this, that Chris was abusive to the girls, and possibly that friend who came in from Hawaii that stayed while Shanann had her surgery, that he was abusive to that friend's child as well. Yeah, I've heard that. And I'd like to research that a little bit more. And see if there was any prior abuse before all this. Okay, so let's get back into it. Sorry.
Frequent.
In the mornings, his team meets in the mornings. They're not all in there every day. Some days, some of them are in there. Some days, other ones are in there. But in the mornings, typically from like 6:15 to probably 7, somewhere around there.
And is that where you met Chris?
Yes.
Okay. So can you just take us through kind of a little bit of the early part of how he courted you or you courted him? I don't know which one happened. How you guys got to know each other?
I guess we just started talking. He actually, so part of my job is to manage the gas monitors that we have. So Anadarko requires all of their field personnel to carry like gas monitor sensors for toxic gas.
Okay, so Carrie B said that the cops, but is that in a police report somewhere though? The cops went into neighbors' homes to discuss what they saw, heard, and one lady mentioned calling about a dog. Interesting.
I wonder if that was Betty. She was like the older lady who was really observant.
Yeah, and I wonder if, like, if you just call, is that would be documented somewhere though, wouldn't it be?
For sure. Yeah, if you filed a police report on it, yeah.
But just calling, does that
you think they might go knock on the door? Here's one thing I don't get, like, how Shanann didn't notice he wasn't there every night. Like, you would think at one point someone from Amazon or something would knock on the door and the package would be sitting there and Shanann would be like, Chris, grab the package. And then he wouldn't grab it. And then she'd be like, where the hell are you? Why aren't you getting the package? But maybe they're not like me. Like, we packages delivered all the time. So.
Well, I think he broke the cameras. He broke the Vivian camera for a while.
The security alarm system, but I thought the Ring camera still worked, but not the alarm to make it go off.
Well, he did something to mess with it, so I think. And if she wasn't there, like, the packages probably weren't arriving like they normally would. So
that's true. But yeah, like, unless she's not ordering something. Yeah.
I think he was working overtime on parking his car different places and just trying to seem like
Well, that's
I
a
don't
good point too. He could just tell her, I'm working overtime. You're not here, so I'm picking up extra hours.
Yeah. He was working
And then she
overtime
won't question,
on being
right?
sneaky. But he's no good
He
at
was
being
working
sneaky.
overtime, all right.
I'm sure that she knew something was wrong. Well, yeah, I mean, of course she knew something was
Behind the
wrong.
barn, there's a thicket, and if you listen late at night, you'll hear a cricket, and it sings a song, and I know the words, and they go like this. Bye.